Hello, my name is Danielle Graham, and I wanted to go ahead and get into my activism project. And for my activism project, I chose to address the problem of sustainability or the lack thereof sustainability within the Black community. Within many areas of Cincinnati and even my home city, Columbus, Ohio, you see areas that have been gentrified, pushing the poverty lines further and further out. It's been no secret that the Black community inhabits most of these areas. It's mostly minorities that are being removed from their homes, and they just don't have the access to resources that they need to lead healthy lives. It's been intentional, and not many strides have been made to correct it outside of the Black community. So to me, this was important, and it was a very important racial injustice as it pertains to sustainability in the form of nutrition for me, because oftentimes these areas have the highest rates for obesity, for heart disease, which is the number one killer for African American women in the United States, and then also just general malnutrition, which starts to create developmental effects and impact the future of our youth. So you see connections being made through nutrition to attention deficit disorders and different diagnoses that have to do with mental health due to the malnutrition of our youth. So one of the first things I noticed when arriving to the University of Cincinnati was the selection of produce in the local Kroger stores, and the areas of Avondale and Corryville, which are around UC, are inhabited mostly by Black people. So to me, the quality of the food was not up to par. The options that were available were often outdated or sold out, but in areas such as Little Debbie's oat milk cream pies, those were seen in abundance, but we didn't have access to basic fruits or vegetables, no cucumbers, no bell peppers, nothing of substance. But then you see sugar in abundance. And that would be completely circumstantial if it weren't due to the fact that once I explore areas like Hyde Park, which are dominated by more affluent people within the Cincinnati area who are typically Caucasian, they had access. They had more selection, and it's due to their privileges. And after noticing these discrepancies, I started drawing parallels between my own hometown and what I was experiencing while I was away at school. So in my neighborhood, there's a clear definition of where it's been gerrymandered, which is given away by the division of school districts. So you have one side of the street who may be middle class, and the other side who may be of a higher social class. But there's about two different grocery stores, and the one who serves the predominantly middle class people in the neighborhood had the same amount of access of produce and just healthy options as Avondale and Corryville did. And then you go to the other side of the neighborhood where the more affluent people live, and it identified more with Hyde Park. So this became more evident that it was intentional once we started to read the labels, and many of the products of greater quality, like organic or GMO-free options, were drastically reduced, even though their products were being supplied by the same distributors. So they would be both supplied by Kroger's, but the areas that had predominantly Black people and that were along the poverty lines did not have the same access to the groceries that the people who were in the more affluent areas had. So to me, I felt like that was an indicator that it was intentional, and it is a racial injustice. So this was a great subject for me to tackle, and especially since being interested in medicine and wanting to work in underserved areas and potentially pursuing a master's in public health or policy, it challenged me to think about how I could target this issue. And it brought me back to many of the lessons throughout the semester discussed by Malcolm X, and having that Afrocentric state of mind. And no, you don't have to return to Africa, but you need to return to your culture. You need to incorporate these African ideas to get a true sense of self, and maybe not as radical as Delaney, but creating a Black nationalist society. For us to be able to take care of ourselves and to be well, we have to take care of ourselves. So what that prompted me to do was to join an organization that I've actually been a member of for a while, or a volunteer for a while, called the Linden Garden Association. Now, I haven't been able to tackle this in Cincinnati, but it would be something that I would definitely be interested in doing it. But for me, what the Linden Garden Association did is it took areas that were impoverished in Columbus and the owners of it brought this land. They are all Black owners, and they brought this land that used to be infested with child molesters and turned it into a community garden. And so what that looked like is we grow vegetables. We teach children how to grow vegetables. We teach family how to grow vegetables, and they're not polluted by pesticides. We have compost piles and water bins and different things of that nature where we can grow our produce. And although we haven't escalated to the point of having chickens or cows or any type of meat, we can genuinely produce vegetables and fruits that we are comfortable giving to the children of the community. And so a lot of times what we've seen is that hyperactivity decreases. You give a child raspberries opposed to Sour Patch Kids, and you start to notice behavioral differences. So I thought that this was a small way to bring awareness to these racial injustices. And no, it's not idealistic to say, hey, Kroger, you need to provide all of us with the same amenities rather than to create those amenities for ourselves. And it was really rewarding for me. And I think by continuation of that, we are able to create healthier environments for our Black community and for the children and just genuinely for ourselves. Thank you.